Hello, my name is Jiso, and I'm reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō. Excuse me. And we've reached chapter 18, Shin Fukatoku, Mind Cannot Be Grasped, the former. Like quite a few of Dōgen's passages or fascicles, as they're sometimes called, chapters in Shōbōgenzō, there are two versions. Mind Cannot Be Grasped, the latter, which appeared in the 95 chapter version of Shōbōgenzō. So this is Mind Cannot Be Grasped, the former, Shin Fukatoku. Shin means mind. Fu expresses negation, ka expresses possibility, and toku means to grasp. Shin Fukatoku, or Mind Cannot Be Grasped, is a quotation from the Diamond Sutra. On the basis of our common sense, we usually think that our mind can be grasped by our intellect, and we are prone to think that our mind must exist somewhere, substantially. This belief also extends into the sphere of philosophy. René Descartes, for example, started his philosophical thinking with the premise cogito ergo sum, or I think therefore I am. The German idealists, for example, Kant, Fichte, von Schnelling and Hegel, also base their philosophies on the existence of mind. But in Buddhism, we do not have confidence in the existence of mind. Buddhism is a philosophy of action, or a philosophy of the here and now. In that philosophy, mind cannot exist independently of the external world. In other words, Buddhism says that all existence is the instantaneous contact between mind and the external world. Therefore, it is difficult for us to grasp our mind independently of the external world. In short, Buddhist theory cannot support belief in the independent existence of mind. In this chapter, Master Dōgen preached that mind cannot be grasped, explaining a famous Buddhist story about a conversation between Master Tokuzan Senkan and an old woman selling rice cakes. Let's dig in. Shakyamuni Buddha says, "Past mind cannot be grasped, present mind cannot be grasped, and future mind cannot be grasped." This is what the Buddhist patriarch has mastered in practice. Inside cannot be grasped. It has scooped out and brought here the caves of the past, present and future. At the same time, it has utilized the cave of the Buddhist patriarch himself, and the meaning of self here is mind cannot be grasped. The present thinking and discrimination is mind cannot be grasped. The whole body utilizing the 12 hours is just mind cannot be grasped. After entering the room of a Buddhist patriarch, we understand mind cannot be grasped. Before entering the room of a Buddhist patriarch, we are without questions about, we are without assertions about, and we do not see and hear mind cannot be grasped. Teachers of sutras and teachers of commentaries, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas have never seen it, even in a dream. Evidence of this is close at hand. Zen master Tokuzan Senkan, in former days, boasts that he has elucidated the Diamond Prajna Sutra. Sometimes he calls himself Shu, king of the Diamond Sutra. He is reputed to be especially well versed in the Seiryu commentaries, besides which he himself has edited texts weighing 12 tan. I've got to look up a tan. 1 tan is 100 kin. 1 kin is a mass of 0.6 kilos. Sorry, that's 100 kin. So 1 tan is 100 kin. So 1 tan is 60 kilos. So 12 tan, that's 12 times 60. Quite a lot. It appears that there is no other lecturer to match him. In fact, however, he is the last in a line of literary Dharma teachers. Once he hears that there is a supreme Buddha Dharma received by rightful successor from rightful successor and angered beyond endurance, he crosses mountains and rivers carrying his sutras and commentaries with him until he comes upon the order of Zen master Shin of Ryutan. On the way to that order, which he intends to join, he stops for a rest. Then an old woman comes along and she also stops for a rest by the side of the road. The lecturer, Senkan, says, "What kind of person are you?" The old woman says, "I am an old woman who sells rice cakes." Tokuzan says, "Will you sell some rice cakes to me?" The old woman says, "Why does the master wish to buy rice cakes?" Tokuzan says, "I would like to buy rice cakes to refresh my mind." The old woman says, "What is that great load the master is carrying?" Tokuzan says, "Have you not heard? I am Shu, king of the Diamond Sutra. I have mastered the Diamond Sutra. There is no part of it that I do not understand. This load I am now carrying is commentaries on the Diamond Sutra." Hearing this insistence, the old woman says, "The old woman has a question. Will the master permit me to ask it or not?" Tokuzan says, "I give you permission at once. You may ask me whatever you like." The old woman says, "I have heard it said in the Diamond Sutra that past mind cannot be grasped, present mind cannot be grasped, and future mind cannot be grasped. Which mind do you now intend somehow to refresh with rice cakes? If the master is able to say something, I will sell the rice cakes. If the master is unable to say anything, I will not sell the rice cakes." Tokuzan is dumbfounded by this. He does not know how he might reply politely. The old woman just swings her sleeves and leaves. In the end, she does not sell her rice cakes to Tokuzan. How regrettable it is for a commentator on hundreds of scrolls of text, a lecturer for tens of years, on merely receiving one question from a humble old woman, to be defeated at once and not even manage a polite reply. Such things are due to the great difference between someone who has met a true teacher and succeeded a true teacher and heard the right Dharma, and someone who has never heard the right Dharma or met a true teacher. This is when Tokuzan first says, "A rice cake painted in a picture cannot kill hunger." Now, so they say, he has received the Dharma from Ryutan. When we carefully consider this story of the meeting between the old woman and Tokuzan, Tokuzan's lack of clarity in the past is audible even now. Even after meeting Ryutan, he might still be frightened of the old woman. He is just a late learner, not an eternal Buddha who has transcended enlightenment. The old woman on this occasion shuts Tokuzan's mouth, but it is still difficult to decide that she is really a true person. The reason is that when she hears the words "mind cannot be grasped," she thinks only that mind cannot be got, or that mind cannot exist, and so she asks as she does. If Tokuzan were a stout fellow, he might have the power to examine and defeat the old woman. If he had examined and defeated her already, it would also be apparent whether the old woman is in fact a true person. Tokuzan has not yet become Tokuzan, and so whether the old woman is a true person also is not yet apparent. That the mountain monks of the great Sung of today, with their patched robes and wide sleeves, idly laugh at Tokuzan's inability to answer and praise the old woman's inspired wit might be very unreliable and stupid. For there is no absence of reasons to doubt the old woman. At the point when Tokuzan is unable to say anything, why does the old woman not say to Tokuzan, "Now the master is unable to say something, so go ahead and ask this old woman. The old woman will say something for the master instead"? If she said something like this, and if what she said to Tokuzan after receiving his question were right in expression, it would be apparent that the old woman really was a true person. She has questions, but she is without any assertion. No one since ancient times has ever been called a true person without asserting even a single word. we can see from Tokuzan's past experience that idle boasting is useless from beginning to end. We can know from the example of the old woman that someone who has never expressed anything cannot be approved. Let us see if we can say something in Tokuzan's place. Just as the old woman is about to question him as she does, Tokuzan should tell her at once, "If you are like this, then do not sell me your rice cakes." If Tokuzan speaks like this, he might be an inspired practitioner. Tokuzan might ask the old woman, "Present mind cannot be grasped, past mind cannot be grasped, and future mind cannot be grasped. Which mind do you intend to fresh with rice cakes?" If he questions her like this, the old woman should say at once to Tokuzan, "The master knows only that rice cakes cannot refresh the mind. You do not know that mind refreshes rice cakes, and you do not know that mind refreshes mind." If she says this, Tokuzan will surely hesitate. Just at that time, she should take 3 rice cakes and hand them over to Tokuzan. Just as Tokuzan goes to take them, the old woman should say, "Past mind cannot be grasped, present mind cannot be grasped, future mind cannot be grasped." Or if Tokuzan does not extend his hand to take them, she should take one of the rice cakes and strike Tokuzan with it, saying, "You spiritless corpse, do not be so dumb." When she speaks like this, if Tokuzan has something to say for himself, fine. If he has nothing to say, the old woman should speak again for Tokuzan, but she only swings her sleeves and leaves. We cannot suppose that there is a bee in her sleeve either. Tokuzan himself does not say, "I cannot say anything, please old woman speak for me." So not only does he fail to say what he should say, he also fails to ask what he should ask. It is pitiful that the old woman and Tokuzan, past mind and future mind, questions and assertions are solely in the state of future mind cannot be grasped. Generally, even after this, Tokuzan does not appear to have experienced any great enlightenment, but only the odd moment of violent behaviour. If he had studied under Ryutan for a long time, the horns on his head might have touched something and broken, and he might have met the moment in which the pearl under the black dragon's chin is authentically transmitted. We see merely that his paper candle was blown out, which is not enough for the transmission of the torch. This being so, monks who are learning in practice must also be diligent in practice. Those who have taken it easy are not right. Those who are diligent in practice are Buddhist patriarchs. In conclusion, mind cannot be grasped means cheerfully buying a painted rice cake and munching it up in one mouthful. Shōbōgenzō Shin Fukatoku, preached to the assembly at Kanondori Koshi Horinji Temple in the Uji district of Yushu during the summer retreat in the 2nd year of Ninji. Thank you for listening.